Pirates Cove, we sailing for what's right. Captain Jeffrey Pigwell keep the Hafa Guam Unfiltered. Ahoy! Ahoy! Aye! Oh, for a die Guam. Here that I come alive from just Pirates Cove, we sailing for what's right. Captain Jeffrey Pigwell keep the compass true. Andrea on the map, GuamDirectory coming through. Tigs with the signal, save our startup loud. Doc Akimoto on deck, AMC proud. Leaning close, let the real talk run. Ha good nya to man, everybody has one. No wish on this ship, no fear in our eyes. Raise the sails to the truth, watch the whole place rise. Hafa Guam Unfiltered. Hafa Guam Unfiltered. Ahoy, ahoy, sing it unfiltered. Guam sauce for true seeker, yeah, we deliver. Hafa Guam Unfiltered. Everybody now, Guam Unfiltered. They do to Santa Rita, in Alohan too, Talo Fofo in the reading. This one's for you, Don Farrell in the room, Charlie Hermosa near. We ask real questions, make it crystal clear. Tenorio Calvo, Ada, Camacho names in the race. No banners on this deck, just truth to face. Independent pirate party, stand firm, stand tall. Continue to continue, answer the call. Clap, clap, lean in close, let the real talk run. Hagotnya to month, everybody has one. No hush on the ship, no fear in our eyes. Raise the sails to the truth, watch the whole place rise. Hafa Guam Unfiltered. Hafa Guam Unfiltered. Ahoy, sing it, don't filter it. Guam sauce for true seekers, yeah, we deliver it. Guam Unfiltered. Everybody now, Unfiltered. White ladies bridge when the night wind blow. Truth don't scare when the truth must show. Chief Gadao and Matapang strength we carry on. Sarina in the tide sing, Guam sing along. Continue to continue. Independent pirate party. Hafa Guam Unfiltered. Hafa Guam Unfiltered. Ahoy, sing it, don't filter it. Guam sauce for true seekers, yeah, we deliver it. Tune into Hafa Guam.
A few moments later.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Each story is told in a different way. Sometimes I hear the same birds singing from past weeks, telling of their adventures since last seeing each other.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Just Pirates Cove in beautiful Ipan Talafofo, Tocha, Guam, USA. Got a great show up for you today. Charlie's here, the doc, Juliana, Mies, Andrea, the whole gang. This is episode 25, season 2. And we got a lot of exciting things to talk about today. Andrea's been working really hard. And what did you want to start with today, Andrea?
Start with the
With the merch, okay. First of all, we got Don Farrell's books. Now, we're all thinking about Don because he had a fall and now he's kind of restricted. He was supposed to come back and help me sign some more of these books and help me sell these, but he's stuck over there in Tinian. So you guys could help him out by coming down and buying either the Brief History of Guam, the Guam Liberation, or the CBs and Super Forts. All available in the gift shop right now. We got a brand new shipment of t-shirts in this week. Now we got kids tie-dye, two-sided with the skull and crossbone, lots of different colors. These came from Hialeah, Florida, if you can believe that. Now this is a quick dry. This is the established 1979 shirt. Is this youth or ladies or small sizes?
Adult.
That's an adult small? Okay, what is that one?
We got a dry fit V-neck tie-dye for women. This is $28.
30% off, right?
Yes, 30% off. We have a new Missing in Guam shirt.
Ooh.
And then the back looks like that.
Send that over again. This is the first time we've had this, so Missing in Guam. This came from Mort, you know, he's great.
Long sleeve,
Now this is a quick dry, right?
dry
Yeah.
fit, yeah.
Long sleeve, quick dry UV shirts.
Women's shorts,
How much are those?
$30. with the
Less 30, so they're $21. It's very affordable right now with the 30% off. Man, that's,
Hawaiian print.
wow, we even got Hawaiian print shirts.
Wow.
My picture on the back when I'm dead.
New, this is new.
That's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
We got every size in those.
You're up in your
Yes.
game.
And what are these?
These are men's swimming shorts.
Cool.
Quick dry? Yeah,
Look at that.
very
That's
nice.
it. It's the same.
Okay, we also just harvested some beautiful Mogold honey. We sold out everything, right?
Yes.
What do we have? We got a couple
We
of
just have
60.
one, the jar that's
That's-
$64.
That's a 32-ounce jar. There's like 3 of those left. So you want some beautiful Mogold, you come down here and get it today or tomorrow because we won't be harvesting again.
Don't
One,
the-
2
don't
more
forget-
months.
Don't forget these.
Oh, don't, this is the Guampa.
That's a Guampa.
This is our new line. We have this registered now. So you got Guamma over there, and you got Guampa. Let's see the front. And Pirates Cove. And then we have these in youth sizes
New sizes, yes.
and adult sizes both. So this is, we've sold quite a few of these already.
Already.
Yeah, that's good. And you want to say anything else?
Would you like to sing?
Later.
Cue the
So we
song.
got barbecue
Wait,
today.
wait.
Hold on. We're gonna cue the song. Want to cue the song? Okay. No, Juliana.
Can it just go?
Okay.
All right. Okay. We're gonna play the song.
The song.
The barbecue. It's blowing up. To
Ahoy!
Okay.
Ahoy!
Play now.
We can't hear it, you know?
Oh, for a die Guam, hear that I come alive. From just Pirates Cove, we sailing for what's right.
So now tell the people
Captain
about
Jeffrey
this
P.
song,
will keep the
Andrea.
compass true.
Okay. Big
Andrea on the map, GuamDirectory coming through. Tigs with the signal, save our start up loud. Doc Akimoto on deck, AMC proud.
Very island.
Leaning close, let the real talk run.
So-
How good nyam to man, everybody has one. No wish on this ship, no fear in our eyes. Raise the sails to the truth, watch the whole place rise. Hafa Guam Unfiltered. Hafa Guam Unfiltered. Ahoy, ahoy, sing it don't filter it. Guam sauce for true sick, yeah, we deliver. Hafa Guam Unfiltered. Everybody now, Guam Unfiltered. They go to Santa Rita, in Alohan too. Talofofo in the reading, this one's for you. Don Farrell in the room, Charlie Hermosa near. We ask real questions, make it crystal clear. Tenorio Calvo Ada, Camacho names in the race. No banners on this deck, just truth to face. Independent pirate party, stand firm, stand tall. Continue to continue, answer the call. Clap, clap, lean in close, let the real talk run. I got ya to 2 months, everybody as one. No hush on the ship, no fear in our eyes. Raise the sails to the truth, watch the whole place rise.
It's a party. Shoot, baby. It's a Charlie party.
Hafa our Guam Unfiltered.
Independent private party. Pirate party.
Our Guam Unfiltered. Ahoy, sing it, don't filter it. Guam sauce for true seekers, yeah, we deliver it. Guam Unfiltered. Everybody now, Unfiltered. White lady bridge when the night wind blow. Truth don't scare when the truth must show. Truth got out and Matapang strength we carry on. Sarina in the tide sing, Guam sing along. Continue to continue. Independent pirate party. Hafa our Guam Unfiltered. Hafa our Guam Unfiltered. Ahoy, sing it, don't filter it. Guam sauce for true seekers, yeah, we deliver it. Tune into Hafa our Guam.
That's my favorite expression.
Continue to continue.
Yeah.
Welcome to our Guam Unfiltered.
You know that? I always say that in the show, right?
Continue to continue.
Yeah.
He's paying attention.
Sing it, don't filter it. Guam sauce for true seekers.
Say pizzeria.
So Guam Unfiltered.
Catch us live.
So we want everybody to be singing that song all over Guam. This is your time to shine, and I think the Pirate has some special prizes for those of you who send in your video of you singing our new theme song. Jeff?
Yes, we're gonna have free bandanas.
Oh,
You know, we got different colors available over there, and I don't know. You know,
Free flu shots over at AMC if you have health insurance. Yeah.
If they come in singing,
Yes, in fact, Charlie had a great idea. When you go to coffee shops or other restaurant venues, including Jeff's Pirates Cove, if you bring your friends and come in singing that song, you'll get a special attaboy.
yes.
And what's the words? Hafa our Guam Unfiltered, right?
There you go.
There you go. That's interesting. Good stuff.
I made them get their cardio, okay?
All right.
Okay, thank
Sing.
you. Oh, God. Here.
Bye, Juliana.
Bye,
Thank
dear.
you.
We miss you already.
Don't forget to tell Mark about the Taiwan.
That's right. So, among the many things that are happening today, apparently you are going to be hosting some Taiwanese influencers over at the restaurant.
Yes, they have asked me to have a nice lunch for them and give them a tour of my museum, and I'm happy to do it.
The Guam Visitors Bureau is there. And so a special day, it's beautiful. The barbecue, I noticed that the smoke is blowing in a little bit of a different direction. The winds over Guam do seem to be kind of pointing more, I want to say southwesterly. I mean, again, the weather guys can confirm, but there's something going on with our circulation pattern, and the wind is a little bit different. So I think our friends up on the mountains are going to get an especially full inhalation of Jeff's Pirates Cove barbecue. You can too. Drive on down to Ipan this morning. It's a beautiful time down here.
Yeah, it's very windy and cool here. Yesterday it was blowing up to I think,
it was
25 miles an hour. So,
But watch out for the
rolling
waters,
out
right?
there.
We need to do our special marine advisory, right? Because even though the water looks really terrific, it is.
Don't go in the water right now. That's my recommendation to you. And if you do, go down to Tumon and don't go in over your waist, and play it safe. If you go anywhere, be aware that these Portuguese man of war, the blue bubbles with the long blue tentacles, are blowing in now, and you don't want to touch those. Those are very dangerous, very hazardous. And I was at the Rotary this week. Were we going to do something about that?
Yes, you can talk a little bit about that, and then we'll run the clip for you, yeah?
Yeah, Dave over there at the Rotary invited me to come down, and I haven't done that, and I was happy to do it. We had a real nice discussion there. They just were kind of interested in my history on Guam and my 47 years of running Pirates Cove, and yeah, they were a great group. I had a good time talking about a lot of things, and you know, they are in Tumon, and they could sympathize with me because I walk Tumon all the time, and I see all the broken signs and trash and bushes that are in your way you can't see when you're driving and all that. And here's the GVB like, we're going to go to Japan and bring more tourists here to see this junk or to be hit by the flooding of the road. You know, the poor tourists walking down the road, they're all getting splashed now when it rains.
Right.
You know, they have no cover down there. GVB should be like giving away umbrellas on rainy days or some kind of, I used to have these real inexpensive raincoats you could give people. And, you know, we really need to fix up Tumon right now and stop, you know, thinking about bringing people here until the product is good, not just for the tourists, for the local people too.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
we all go to Tumon and we want the whole island cleaned up because there's not many places where you can just get in your car and go see a beautiful island in an hour, hour and a half, go all the way around. You can't do that many places, but Guam you can. But it's not advertised, it's not promoted by the GVP, and there's no public transportation, which is another big fallback, right? That we can't bring people down here to look at things or bring people up from the south to the north to work or just have 4 buses a day. Don't you think that would be enough?
Anything. Linda Ibanez calling out you, Vince Ariola, we've been harping on this show. Now it's election year, you need to ramp up your game. This is the time to show the people of Guam that you still deserve to remain in office.
And also going back to the Rotary, you know, and that, you know, it's the group of people that belong to these clubs are, you know, obviously, you know, they want to be able to participate in something that they believe in. And I think, Jeff, you need to go out and speak to all the clubs out there because I belong to the Rotary Club of Northern Guam. And, you know, for example, Dave also invited me to come in a couple of weeks back and give a discussion talk on, you know, the orphans, on the article that I had put out. And within that discussion, within that meeting, Phil Flores from Bank Pacific,
My friend,
yeah, he immediately reached out and said, how can we help? Because, but again, the reason why I bring this up is because when you have those type of discussions, you share your point of view. A lot of folks are very open-minded to listen to what's going on. And then when you talked about the fact that it's not only about our tourists, but our locals, we have a lot of locals that will go down to Tumon and say, what happened? You know, maybe it's a couple of months since they've been down in Tumon. And within those days, things change, right? Because if the trash keeps building up, if there's more graffiti, if another car gets dumped in the side of the road while they're heading down to Tumon, it's evident for them. And those are the things that are striking for them and the family to see as they go down to enjoy, you know, a good time down at the beach in Tumon.
And a lot of the locals that we're talking about are here. A lot of the students who have gone off to college are here visiting family and they're celebrating being home together, but they're noticing some of the deficiencies, some of the things that are not quite right, because they have a basis for comparison in their college towns, right? So the idea that Guam can stay still, that we can pat ourselves on the back for where we are, it's not true. And so the government of Guam does need to take a lot of responsibility for this, because they spent most of last year bashing private industry, saying that we were big bad businesses, that we were selfish, that we didn't want to contribute to the community, which when the opposite is true, you have example after example where the private sector wants to step up, wants to follow the lead of good governance, and we give our tax money to this government as proof, right? So the key right now is that we're not just building a better community for our tourists to come to, it's for ourselves, our kids, our future. This needs to be the best place in the world to be, because a lot of people want to be buried here. A lot of people have chosen to live here and to die here, and so we need to make this a better place.
And it can be. And I think the reason why we keep knocking at this is because you know, it's fallen to the side. Nobody wants to listen. Nobody wants to take action. Nobody wants to do anything.
You have the same people in charge all the time. This is why the independent movement is so important, because everybody that's running for office and has been in office has had a chance to change things, haven't they?
Yep.
Have they done anything?
Nope.
I mean, why are we still 2 years behind on the accounting for the public school system.
Right. That's
You
a
know,
failure.
huge, millions and zillions of money. And I think, I told you, my buddy was in charge of running that Alvarez thing, and we would drink at Mork and Mendy's, and he would say, you know, Jeff, that place is just a trip. You got people running things that don't know what they're doing, people that are holding it back, personalities that are more important than the mission. You know, it's just a typical political mess.
You're right.
Yeah.
And you know, in the private sector, in the business side, we attribute that to a culture that's been developed that way, and it's systemic.
Right.
And so, going back to the points that we've been talking about, at some point we have to break that.
Well,
We have
even
to break
BJ
that.
said many of those agencies are way behind, right?
Yeah.
And you got to give BJ some, you know, power to punish people, or, you know, there has to be, people have to be held personally responsible.
Correct. Yeah, because if
You know, that's the only way it's going to work, right?
Absolutely. And it's going to be unfortunate, but it has to happen. Whoever is the first set of punishments that have to come down, but they have to show that, like, for example, you know, well, we haven't gotten to the report yet, we'll get them to you. Well, you're 2 years behind. Like,
Right,
there's
right,
no,
right.
there's
Get back
no
to you, yeah.
accountability there. There's nothing that says, let me rush and get these things together, because if not, you know, X will happen.
I hate to always argue with you guys, but it's not true. The accountability starts with Lou Leon Guerrero and Josh Tenorio. They're the leader of this government. They're the ones who dictate the culture. They're the ones who reward people for bad behavior. They can come down on folks and apparently convey their displeasure and try to influence change, like they're trying to do with Attorney General Doug Moylan. So it's not true that no one's accountable. Lou, you're accountable. This is your government. You've had it for 7 years. This last eight year, you're going to hear a lot of this the same. In fact, you're going to get it from your own Democratic colleagues, because they're going to blame you for all the failures and try to justify them being reelected. But that's the thing. You know, it's so, our democracy is so infuriating, because we do have this rule of law where we decide once we elect somebody, we got to put up with them for 2 or 4 years. We've put up with Lou Leon Guerrero and Josh Tenorio for now 7 years. The people of Guam do have a say. You do have a chance to make a change. You do have the obligation to change the diapers of your government. It starts with the Pirate Party, this independent party that we are formed. It's no longer a vision or an idea. It already has a theme song. We have a show. We have a mission. We have a vision, and you can be a part of it. Like, share, subscribe, join the movement. If you like what we say, all the more reason to jump aboard. But if you don't like what we say, jump aboard, because we don't have all the solutions. We just have the energy and the passion and the anger to drive us to do this every week. And we're not going away, because we've come this far, 2 years, to get to this point where you're listening to us because we're entertaining, we're funny, we're good looking, whatever the heck your reasons are. Like, share, and subscribe, and flood the market with this Hafa Hour Pirate Show, because we're not going to stop, and we want you to join us.
And push it to the states. You know, this is one thing I want us here on Guam to try to reach the people that left Guam because of the poor conditions and because they couldn't find opportunity, and for all the reason, you know, the politicians here are happy all those smart people left. You know that?
Oh, yes.
Because they can't stay in office if smart people would stay here and vote them out, right?
Yeah.
But they have won the war, you know, the
Battle.
excruciation of running, you know, of the, you know, you're going to try to run, you know, I've run before. It's grueling. It is no fun, and it's ridiculous. I mean, I'm just hoping now, in 2026, people will just allow intellect to guide them to their vote, okay? I hope we can have like shows like our forum type thing here, where candidates can discuss things and people can actually hear, you know, what they have to say.
I mean, be candid. No political buzzwords. Just be open, candid. You know, we could ask you and say, listen, what happened? You know, and just be open about the process. Maybe they'll talk about the internal, not discuss and name people, but say, you know, this is what happened. You know, I couldn't do this because of X. Yeah. But be open for us to be able to understand, because we're not in there in the middle, so we don't know what's happening behind closed doors. All we see is that nothing is being done. That's the perception.
Nobody knows what's
But
happening.
we don't know exactly. So if we can get a better idea, more transparency as far as what's going on, I think that it would allow us to be able to look at some of these politicians and say, okay, this is the reason why. But the other part is, you know, being open and candid also would allow these candidates to be able to be graded, right, in what their promises made, promises kept, right? I mean, there's a scorecard there that we could look at across the board, but ultimately it goes back to what you said, Doc. The governor is the captain of this ship.
Yep.
Well,
So-
she has to have a crew, and she has to have commanders, and she has to have honest, trustworthy people that are interested in helping everybody, not just themselves.
Right, but she
And
has
this
to
is
be-
what we've evolved to for the last 62 years since I've been here, whatever, is only perpetuating status quo. You know, don't make anything better. My God, you know that one. If you change something, then you know maybe Uncle Louie over here will lose something, or you know,
Yeah.
there's no fearless leadership here to say, okay, we have to try this. We have to use our money. It's like this mining thing in the ocean. Everybody, oh, we're against this. Oh, we don't want to do that. I mean, we're not even looking into it yet, and people are already saying no, you know? And we're just over here saying, oh, we don't want this, and, you know, we're environmentalists, and we're this, and, you know, actually, we are just flat-minded, is what we are. We should listen to what they say. I mean, what if that's money for Guam, for the education, and for the politicians to burn? I mean, that's the big interest, right?
Yeah, no.
If it's a casino, I get they're all on board, right?
And it's interesting because the one thing that I've been asking is, you know, they're in the position, they're putting out this information, but what I want to know is what data are they using to be able, because I don't know if we have that many marine PhD within the 38th any of the senators.
We don't
right?
have anything
So,
like that.
well, I would like to see where the data that they're using to make the decisions. I mean, whether it's right or wrong, yes or no, pro or against, but just what they're using to base their data. Because if you use ChatGPT, Doc and Jeff, if you use
Yes.
ChatGPT, it's very biased.
Ooh.
So go on ChatGPT and say, what do you think about what's
Climate
happening?
change?
No, about the Guam,
Deep
about
sea
the
mining.
deep sea mining, and it is absolutely against it.
Woke?
Right?
It's woke.
It's very leaning towards one side. So
Ah.
I went back and I said, you're very leaning towards the left, and it said, I apologize, but this is what I've been, the information that I
Fed,
have that
yeah.
I've been being fed leads me. So I said, can you switch the tone to more of a positive? And then when you start reading on the other side, so on face value, if they're just going into a system and asking me,
Really?
is this good or bad? And a system is spitting out information and they're not doing research behind that information, then they're taking that information to face value. I tested it out. I knew it. My ChatGPT, I got to switch it because it's on certain issues. I'm like, hey, like, why are you leaning more towards the left?
Go my way.
Yeah.
But I think that actually leads to a very important point, and why this podcast is important, and also what Jeff's been doing as a citizen is important. Because I was flabbergasted. That was the first time he'd ever been invited to speak in front of the Rotary or accepted the invitation, right? So in the past, maybe he just didn't go. He also has never testified in front of the legislature before until just last year, and it was essentially the same issues. I mean, this young man, has been a citizen of Guam for quite a while, but he's been activated to become, I guess, a larger presence in the common discussion. And I think everybody else should take that example. We're not doing this because necessarily we have nothing else to do. It's the idea that there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and the same people keep showing up as the experts. Like Lou said, she was going to fix the Guam Memorial Hospital, and she was the only one smart enough to do it. 7 years later, it turns out she's wrong. We gave her too much time. The point is that I think a lot of you need to be activated to be citizens in the way that Jeff is demonstrating, and the way we're doing. I mean, there's no secret to showing up to do a podcast. You just have to drive down to Epen. There's no secret to engaging Charlie and I in a conversation. We're going to be over at the restaurant later on. We often are. Let's talk. Your voice needs to be heard, and then because ChatGPT only extracts what's on the internet, which is a lot of stuff, your voice needs to be out there too, because I think that helps balance the discourse, and our democracy thrives, I think, with more voices in it. Right now, the people that are leaning the other way towards environmentalism, and not to say that it's a bad thing, but to the exclusion of, I guess, a discussion about what benefits will come. Plus, let's realize something. If we don't do it, if we're not going to take advantage of the resources that are in our environment, other people will. For many, many years, Taiwanese fishing trawlers, Russian fishing trawlers, Japanese fishing boats have been taking the fish from the ocean around us because we don't have a fishing fleet. We don't take advantage of the fish, so they do. The same thing what's under our ocean. Very likely, I'm going to point at some of you guys who seem to be so well organized and funded, the Russians and the Chinese are already down there doing their dirty deeds done dirt cheap. They don't have to talk to us. They don't need to tell us what they're doing. For some reason, these impossible metal guys who are private industry are really kind of blabbering their mouths about what their intentions are. And they're not, I mean, again, I don't think these guys are the enemy. They're American, and they're trying to play within the game. And so one of the things they did is hire Donald Trump to be their lobbyist. So this is democracy in action. This is American politics. It's dirty. It's in your face. You have to participate. The Chinese and the Russians who want to mine some of that stuff downstairs, they don't need your permission, and they ain't going to ask for it.
And I completely agree, Doc. And that's some great information, because I don't think a lot of folks know that the Chinese and Russians are doing that right now.
They're doing it right
And
now.
They got all those submarines and exploratory equipment, right?
And I know for a fact, and I've seen data where it shows that some of these quote-unquote fishing boats that are not fishing boats with the Chinese are coming in, and they creep into the EZs down in Micronesia, right? Because if you follow sort of the underneath trail, right, with the dig where a lot of the mining has happened, you see the boats coming in and out, and so you know what's happening. Now, I'm not saying that I'm disagreeing what has been said and the passion that all the senators have had. All I'm asking is, when I ask you a question and say, why are you against it? And you say, well, it's going to hurt our oceans, it's going to hurt our environment. My next question is, what exactly are you, what exactly is that? And what does that mean? What exactly is it going to hurt? Give me some tangible thing that I can walk away with and say, we're going to lose all the tuna. Oh, okay, well, then to me, that's very tangible. I can say, wow, that is...
Charlie the tuna doesn't want to lose tuna.
Charlie the tuna doesn't want to lose tuna. But if you just say, just overlapping, oh, it's the environment. But what about it? Tell me that you did a little bit...
Be specific. We're in the Pacific, okay?
Yes. Continue, right? It's like, be specific on and
they
just
just
make
want
sure
to
that
look good to each other and the
Well,
voters.
let me burst their bubble, because as they're trying to pretend to be environmentalists for a second, let's remind them that the big issue you're talking about is sovereignty. You're talking about how offended you are that Donald Trump is coming in and negotiating your rights away and giving it to a private company without asking your permission. In point of fact, they are asking your permission. They're saying you've got 30 days to respond, because apparently you haven't been paying attention to the world for the last 5 or 7 years. That's you, Lou. I mean, Lou apparently found out about this when she was flying first class and reading some magazine, and she goes, ooh, that's about Guam. You guys are not paying attention, and in addition, Mr. Wanpat, you failed to get us sovereignty. We have no determination, right? We've been spending millions and millions of federal funds for us to get a vote on what exactly our status is going to be. Statehood, independence, whatever. Right now we have the status quo, which is the equivalent that we're like a vacuum cleaner in the White House. We are, property of the United States. The Department of Interior actually dictates what we do, and they can withdraw a lot of the stuff that we've been given so far. We are optional. And you know why, Lou? It's your fault. For the last 7 years, you've done nothing to establish the sovereignty of our community in terms of the oceans, the sky, or the land. Or, this whole, I'm glad this conversation is coming up, because I think a lot of second graders are realizing that you're buffoons. You are idiots. You are unsophisticated. You are trying to pretend like you have any control over the 200-mile sphere of economic whatever. You can't even control Dildren up in Jigo. You can't control the Guam Memorial Hospital in Manilao. You are fools. Every time you stand up and open up your mouth and say, oh, I love my island, I'm going to protect it. You can't even establish sovereignty.
And so to that point, we love the environment. We love this island, and that has nothing to do with the fact that everybody's very passionate about keeping the pristine island that we have, the beauty that we have. But there was somebody that a couple of years back that came to Guam on a research project, and they had mentioned because they wanted to expand the port. And obviously, when you expand a port, there's some environmental issues that you'll confront with, one being the coral reef, right? That's very important to us, and we don't want to touch it, damage it. But there are scientific ways to be able to uproot and move them and relocate them and let them flourish in other areas that we have.
Yeah, take the junk cars and go make a reef, will you?
Around Guam, and expand the port. So they left saying, you got to look at it in one way. The way we see it is, there's going to be a point where you may not be able to bring in ships that are going to bring in food, because 93% of our food source comes via shipping. It comes in, right, one way, either ocean or air. And then if it diminishes and other larger ships are not able to come in, you would rather save the coral reef and let your people starve than expand the port. And so that could put things in perspective, because we can move the coral reefs and make them such beautiful. I mean, what we really would love to see, let the coral reefs flourish. But instead, we kind of clump it into this climate, environmental bubble, and that's it. Once you just put it and say it's an environmental issue, it's an environmental issue, it's an environmental issue, that's it. It landlocks, and we can't do anything else past that.
Well, the cruise ships coming in.
The cruise ships coming
the
in.
The warships coming in. There's many different reasons to increase the capacity of the
Correct.
port. Now, Charlie, I've always thought that we should have another port. And I think it should be in Maritza. And I think we should have that be like a luxury area, you know what I mean? Where you can go all the way in and out, down there. There's actually by Ah Cheng Bay there.
Right.
There's a way you could canal and go through there and, make it in and out. You see this port here, when we had like a typhoon and a fire and stuff like that, it was shut down. Because there's only one way out, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Down there in Cocos. And can't you just imagine what a beautiful seaside village, fishing village, lazy village that would be so nice for the people in Maritza if planned properly and done, by the ways we should do it. Now, there was a ship down there called the USS Oregon. Have you ever heard of that?
No, you're such a pirate.
So in my museum, I have a picture of this ship sitting at the Cocos Pier area.
Wow.
Now, this ship was instrumental during the Spanish-American War. It was part of the main class battleships, and there was actually a big battleship that was sank that caused the beginning of the Spanish-American War. And some people say there was piracy involved, and some people say they did that just to get a war going with the Spanish, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, this Oregon becomes a big steaming 351-foot battleship. It's got 6 wheels on it. I have one here. And it engages in traveling from when it was built in San Francisco down to Cuba and Chile, and being instrumental in crushing the Spanish Armada. It was called the Bulldog. It was like the most famous. It had this armor that was just amazing.
Are you talking about the one here, the Maine, or the Maine, USS
Well,
Maine?
these are called, I think, Maine battle class ships. You know what I mean? There was I'm not sure, but this Oregon was. And then later on, it was turned into a museum and left in Oregon for all these guys that sit around with their pipes and chat about, war stories. And then the Japanese wanted to buy it from us before the war and get the metal from it. And we said, no, we don't want it sent back as bullets, right? And then later, it was towed as a hulk full of C4 dynamite.
Ooh.
And that's what was used to shape Apra Harbor and Maritza.
No kidding.
And this thing get washed away from Maritza, and they would have to go find it and bring it back. So they finally sold it to a shipbreaker in Japan in about 1956. But, to me, Maritza should be another harbor.
I agree. And we've had these discussions several times, because if the entrance to Apra Harbor gets blocked, what's the alternative?
Right.
And so the military does have these extension bridges that they can go out there, but it's a very short-term, very short-term fix. But the question has always been raised for those that do the planning back in DC, then they finally come here and they say, wait a minute, there's only one port? Like what? And the natural question is, what happens if it gets blocked? And that issue came about also when they were constructing the initial phase of the Ukuru power plant. When they were bringing these massive generators.
Yeah.
Do you remember when they had to go 1 mile an hour?
Up the street.
Up the street. Well, initially, the planning engineers were like, there has to be, can we put it in barges and then barge it up north? There's no other, other harbor besides that. They looked at using air, these heavy lift helicopters. I mean, they looked at different ways to be able to efficiently move these things. And the only thing that they could come up with was the long haul,
Slow
1 mile,
moving,
1
yeah.
mile per hour move. And so, when you look at those type of infrastructures and you say, we need another harbor, we need another port, I think it has to happen. And it doesn't have to be so industrial. It can be more towards sort of something that will complement the island where
Cruise ships.
Yeah, cruise ships, right? I mean, it would make the villages down south flourish. They can come out.
Fishing.
Yeah, I mean, you name it. But again, you're talking about things that are very visionary, all right?
Well, it would be more to ask the military because it's to their advantage and they can finance it more than anybody else, right?
If anybody ever wonders why I show up to this show, it's because of conversations like this, which just kind of poof out of these guys' brains and into my ears and now into your ears. If you like this kind of content, please like, share, and subscribe. Andrea, do you have anybody on the line that making comments?
Yes, while we're queuing up Jeff's video from the Rotary, we're going to play that. But there are people here in the stream that are sharing, as always, their opinions. Our favorite guests, like Stephen Blake, he
Hey,
says,
Steve.
"Good morning, Charlie, JPC, Doc Akimoto." Let me just go and pull it up. I know Dave Kissinger said good morning as well.
Hey, Dave.
Sandra, you had her dancing
Sandy.
too.
There you go, Sandy. We're going to do that again.
Yes, and
Actually, we want your video.
yes, we want her to send. And then Dave says, open invite town hall meeting in the beautiful village of Inalahen.
Thank you, Dave. You were right. Is that Dave Duenas?
Yes, Dave doing yes.
Yes, that's tomorrow at 6 o'clock. So for those of you out there who like your politics raw and in your face, the mayors of the South are raising a ruckus about trying to improve healthcare. So they're meeting down there to try to get the Southern Regional Medical Center more activated, and there's some really good news. So, a lot of times we talk about stuff and the solution seems so far away, but the mayors in the South are not waiting for anybody. And so they've been looking at ways to bolster healthcare resources down South. And they're going to also discuss about getting more people onto the government assistance programs that are already funded, such as Medicaid. Medicaid actually appears to have almost unlimited funding for people who are below a certain economic threshold. So we need to get that discussion live. It's down at the Inarahan Community Center next to the church at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. So please come down.
Yes, and I think our producer is queuing up Jeff's video. Just for background, again, Jeff went to the Rotary Club, for those who are just tuning in now, and he shared his life story.
Yes.
So from his early years in Guam to his trip or his move to Hawaii, Vegas, and then back to Guam, and the journey that he had here at JPC. So we're going to play it right now.
Everybody knows the woes of the hospital is so bad. The
How long
prison,
is that?
the other day they said, in 2000, we were supposed to start this plan to build a new prison and this, that, and the other thing. 25 years ago, the prison has 800 inmates for a place made for 300. The ICE problem on Guam has gotten crazy too. But if you want it, I guess you gotta go to prison. It's, more available there. This government is only serving themselves. Last election, about 50% of the eligible voters voted. That means that everybody else is allowing what's to happen to happen. We really need, and you as business people need to encourage your employees to register to vote. So when this new election comes up, we could have a chance. We also need to push, and I think Ron McNitch is pushing for independent movement. If that's what, you want to do, I think that is better than joining the party. Myself, I ran as an independent for governor in 1986 against Carl Gutierrez. And the reason I did it, and I ran with Bill Roth, a very smart guy who was a principal of Notre Dame and Father Duenas. We did it because we could just see this government growing and education getting worse. All the problems that were there. So we ran, got about 1,000 votes. We made a lot of people think. But you think that was 30 years ago, and all the problems are still there. Nothing has gotten better. If you can tell me one thing that has gotten better, all I can think of is if you work for the government, it's better for you because you just.
All right.
So this is just another example of a citizen taking matters into his own hands and bringing some good ideas to the fore. Because the politicians keep claiming they have the monopoly on good ideas, and yet they do nothing. And we get frustrated because, our community still deserves better. Like him or not, Donald Trump is an example of a politician who doesn't wait around for good ideas to rot on the vine. And so, in fact, this morning, breaking news, our intrepid correspondent, Charlie Hermosa, has an update from what Donald Trump was doing to your economy this morning. Charlie?
Yeah, in my discussions this morning when I was talking to the White House, they were saying, no, this is actually breaking news that came out during the social wires, and it looks like the president's going to push for the credit cards starting on September 20th. The credit card. January 20th.
In 5 days.
In about a week. Yeah,
about a week.
In about a week, the credit card companies will not be allowed to charge more than 10% interest rate.
That's amazing.
Which makes sense because and I went back and I actually looked at some of my old credit cards, and they went from, I had a credit card that was between 9 and 11, which is still a little high, and it's at 21% now.
Yeah, they go as high as 29. That's crazy.
And you don't control it, right?
Yeah.
They just send you a notice and they said, hey, starting the beginning of the month, you're at 14%, then 17%, then at 19%, then 21%, and you're like, what do you do? And then, similar to what happens in the industry, right? You look at other credit cards and they're about the same, right? It's almost like the gas, right? One gas station raises it to $5 and the next one. So which one do you choose, right?
Yeah.
So
same example with our ED pills, Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra. It seems like there's a monopoly, and so the prices keep raising, and men want to have the same effect on their penis, so they keep paying the price. So the thing is, the government has a purpose, and it has to regulate some of these obscenities that are inflicted upon us by big bad businesses. So while Chris Barnett whines about trying to take money out of the pocket of private businesses, Donald Trump goes straight to the source and says, look, you can charge interest, you just can't gouge, right? I mean, 10%, 11%.
10%'s a lot
They're
already,
making a ton of money. But
Yeah.
then, this is amazing. Your president making a political move that, how are the woke people going to argue against that?
What is going to come out, right? What is going to come out of this initiative?
Because they're the ones running up all the credit cards.
And if you look at, and if you take it down, to the local level, in our local, government, what are they doing to stimulate the economy? What are they doing?
They're putting you in the blender. How's your crusade going on to get that credit card charge?
$2.68.
Yeah.
I got another article coming out because what I'm doing is I'm recapping everything that I was doing in 2025 and saying what actions have been taken. So far, nothing. And so, but what is our government doing to stimulate our local government? What are they doing to stimulate the economy? And just going
They're
out.
charging you, when you go pay your bills down there for your taxes, there's a fee that's being charged by the government of Guam
Correct.
on the credit card, like
They
2 or
are.
3%. That's a big ripoff. I mean,
Yes.
you're already paying too much for utilities.
Right.
Really, you know, our rates here are just over the top, right?
Yes.
And then on top of that, oh, you want to use your credit card, then sorry, you're going to pay another 2% on top of
Right.
that.
And then our government has a
And-
surplus that they're gonna throw
Yeah,
around.
they have tons of money, and you know,
Yeah,
it's like
and they don't even, and that was the part that when we were fighting for the rollback of the BPT, and you know they started doing the line items of, it's not just the, you know, there's so many, when you add up all the expenses, and yes, we use a credit card to pay our GRTs. I use them, you know, depending on
I
the
did
month.
before because of mileage.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, we wanted to be able to, you know, get something back as well, and so, but now when they assess, you know, that 3%, 2.5 or
No,
3%,
it's not worth it.
it just, you know, for every dollar, we automatically lose 3 cents right off
I
the
was
top.
paying like 10 or 12,000 a month for my GRT, right? And using the credit card, man, that's like 120,000 miles a year. I give that to my employees when they need, you know, to take a trip down to Yap, or, you know,
Yeah.
I try to use that mileage and everything. But once they said they're gonna add on the,
3%.
it's over.
Yeah.
I'm not using the credit card anymore. And it's, I write a check and my accountant takes it and it's done, but it's still, it was a convenience, you know, I liked it. Now, while we're talking credit cards, okay? So
Okay.
here at Pirates Cove, in every restaurant, every day, you get lost credit cards, right?
People that leave the credit
People
card,
leave their credit cards in the thing, not every day, but too often.
maybe mine's
The
here.
problem is, none of these credit cards have a number on there that you could call the credit card and say, hey, Charlie Gonzalez left his credit card here. That would be beautiful,
I
right?
think so, I think so.
And then they could call the person because they know where they made their last transaction
Yeah,
from the computer.
that's right, that's
You know? So I really want to, Donnie Trump and, you know, you guys out there that are interested in helping American business, help the consumer by forcing them or getting together with the World Bank, you know, they have like a World Bank, you know,
Yeah.
processing center,
Yes.
and put one number on there that anybody could call if they lost their credit card, or if I found a credit card, I could call that and say, hey, I have this guy's credit card, tell him now. Because you know what we do? We go on Facebook.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and then me, I know a lot of my customers, so I know I can get a hold of them, right?
Right.
But it's, the card sits, and it's bad if you're on vacation. Because now what, you're gonna stop all the, you know, credit card, you know,
Yeah.
functioning and not be able to use it, and you don't know where you left it, it could have been here, there, or anywhere, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Now you know I've learned that lesson quite a bit. So I travel with two key credit cards. One I always leave in the hotel, and so in case I lose one, I'll always have one for backup. The other one is if the establishments actually kept the name of their establishment. And back in the day when I was working on the mainland and taking some of my customers out, they always wanted to go out and have a good time. And if I left my credit card at that establishment, I had to call the company and say, you know, cancel it, hold it,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go pick it up. So I had to verify, and a little bit of walk of shame sometimes. I had to verify, okay, did you charge this at X place? I was like, yep, that's valid.
Tequila
Yeah,
shorties.
yes, you know, like, are you staying? Like, they're like, oh, so they're like,
how was
and I don't know if they're allowed to say like, oh, must have been a good night. I don't know if they're.
Yeah.
But yeah, there has to be, with all technology now, I think there has to be a better way to be able to. And sometimes, right, I think that if you see that it's a Navy Federal, USAA, Penn, you know, kind of makes you think that it's somebody from the military, maybe, right, or a veteran. So, but still, there has to be a better way to be able
But
to.
now everybody can join those. You
Yeah.
know, all civilians can be in Penn
Or-
Fed and all that. you know,
Or I
so-
think you know
Maybe.
the other push and the other direction that the world is moving is, you know, just cashless, right? I mean, just whether you have you know, just on your phone,
Right.
you just tap and go with your phone.
Now, me, I don't trust any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't use any of those wallets. I've seen more incidents where people got ripped off because they gave away their numbers, you know, and stuff like that. So I'm very leery about
Yeah.
using my taps and zaps, and I'd rather have my own physical credit card and know what I
Yeah,
did.
no,
you
and,
know.
and I was just talking to Jeff last week after, or 2 weeks ago after our show, and I've condensed everything now. So if I lose, I have my ID. So now I have my ID, my credit card, all on my phone now. So like if I don't have my phone, I'm like I don't have my ID. So if I lose if I lose my phone, it's everything.
Lose your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
losing a phone is a bummer.
So we do need a good government to be able to help us both federally and the local level to maintain our lives, because things are complicated as it is, and we pay a lot of money in taxes on Guam, 1.4 billion in local taxes, to try to have a government that doesn't suck. Unfortunately, Lou and Josh, the consensus evaluation is that you guys suck. There's just not enough good coming out of the amount of money that we're paying. And if you want an example of what happens when things suck to this degree, where people are suffering, we're crying out to you for help, and you say we have no say, something like, I don't know, Venezuela happened. So just this past week, a Venezuelan leader was interviewed by a bunch of special forces guys and convinced to go to Brooklyn. Jeff, you are a pirate. And apparently, some would say that Donald Trump and the United States has, in this regard, acted like a pirate. What is your editorial position on President Maduro from Venezuela being abducted from his presidential palace there in Caracas?
You know, I think that President Trump really analyzes things carefully before he does anything. And I feel when you balance out the way the Chinese and the Russians and the Iranians are all playing, we can pretty much play the same if we need to, okay? I mean, we are so close to Venezuela. We are so close to Cuba in South America. Anything that happens there could affect us. And then you hear these stories about huge buildings full of sophisticated surveillance systems. You hear stories about Barack Obama and Clinton trying to disrupt, President Trump. Did you read about that stuff? You believe that?
I believe it, yeah.
Yeah, see, here's our ex-presidents, so mean and so spiteful, they go after them vindictively, make up stuff that the Russians did, and, put it through the media, because the media is a mess now. Even on Guam, I'm telling you that I love our show because we can talk to people, they can talk to us.
Yeah.
Nothing's, clouded or nothing, is anything but open and clear, right? But the way the media has worked in the States and the way it's fallen apart here, there's no purpose or no wealth for the people to have from the media unless you really select who you're going to listen to.
Yeah, and to that topic, I think you were almost about to hit that, Jeff. Where you're right. Where Cuba, the Chinese, Russians, they're all the Hezbollah is in Venezuela. There's a lot of terrorist groups that have been operating out of Venezuela. So the two things with that. With what happened with the former President Maduro, is the fact that one, in my research and in my opinion, our president didn't do it for getting fuel for us. It's getting it away from the Chinese and the Russians, and I think that's very important, very strategic to be able to do, especially when you have Cuba so close, when you have all these terrorists feeding and getting fuel over to feeding these nuclear plants in the Middle East, whatever China's doing. So I think that getting the oil away from them was very strategic. And number two is the fact that we do have a drug problem.
There we go.
And so when the cartels are running your government,
Yes.
And they're telling the president what to do,
Yeah.
why wouldn't we do it? And we've done it in the past. We went into Panama
Yes.
and took out Noriega, right?
Sure.
Similar situation,
Yes.
right? We had an issue. We had evidence of what was happening in Panama,
These guys aren't saints,
and
right?
so yeah, we had to go in and take them out.
The people that we're talking about, Noriega and Maduro, these guys are raping their own government, right? They're in the case of Maduro, is a narco-terrorist. I mean, again, it's just a word, but the fact of the matter is he was propping up his government by running drug deals and letting, like you say, the cartels have free reign over that government. And it's the people of Venezuela that were suffering. So again, it's all very ugly. And I guess Donald Trump's just showing that he can be as ugly as Putin, he can be as ugly as Xi. These guys apparently respect power. This was a very flagrant demonstration of U.S. military power, and it is one big middle finger to anybody who thinks just because we're nice and kind that we're weak. Sorry, buddy.
I mean, President Biden is the one that put the reward out for Maduro.
He did.
He put the money out, and he said $25 million if you find him and bring him back to justice.
Well, they found him in his house.
Well, I mean, but when President Trump says he's going to do something, he's going to do it, and that I think is what he's been trying to promote across the world.
Yeah.
So when he talks to different countries and says, "Listen, I need your help. If not, this is what I'm going to do. You're either going to support us and be with us,
Yeah.
or we're going to find a way to be able to do it."
Just think of Greenland.
That'll be for next week's show.
Now they made it. Yeah,
you want to
that's
be here
that's
next week?
that's
We're going to talk about Greenland.
And I will come up with some really good data because
Good.
I will tell you it's become a little bit, but even the president has made it a little bit or some folks,
Complicated?
a little bit of a comedy as far as like going in and he's going to take England, but there is a strategic play in this whole thing.
Well,
there is a very
yeah.
strategic,
Yeah.
not just for the U.S.,
And I
but
promise
for
you,
that entire
you're not
region.
going to get any better information than you are from Charlie next week on this show, because we go in depth. We go places where nobody else will go, and we use language that no one else will use. So, the pirate has given us our command. We're going to Greenland next week on this show, although we also have a bigger agenda, so we need to stay on track because our producers, I mean, wonderful stuff this week, a new theme song, just a whole new aura. But we do have some commitments that we've been making, right? Because we're going to have more structure. We're going to follow actually some sort of an agenda or an outline so that people at home can keep score. And then on top of that, we're taking some of this out and going out on the road. Like we said, there's going to be a town hall meeting about healthcare tomorrow, and some of the members of our cast are going to be participating to try to get. This is not just an exercise in blah blah. We're getting out into the streets to try to make a change. And I think Charlie, with his leadership over at the University of Guam, he's an educator as well. I think there is some work going on to try to get things going. Can you talk about community outreach?
Well, next week or in February, we're going to go over and meet Charlie's club student and students as well to get them involved locally here.
This is with the community, the tool that you've invented. Could you tell people a little bit about that?
The GuamDirectory.
That's right.
Okay, yes. Well, first of all, I want to go back to hafahour.com. Everyone can look at the schedule there. Today, we were supposed to be talking about how Guam elects its governors, and
Yes,
we will be.
We will be.
We will be.
We're not done yet.
We're not done yet, but I mean, the GuamDirectory, we do have grants for veteran-based business owners, young entrepreneurs, and we're releasing more features to help small business owners. So last week or earlier this week, we featured about 5 small business owners to get there. And a lot of the things that's happening on Guam is that a lot of small businesses are suffering. They're not getting the tourists, the revenue that they need. Even if there are a lot of government programs out there that are supposed to be funding and supporting it, they're not actually getting the support that they need. That people are not coming to buy.
People don't have money.
And the bottom line is, if larger businesses on island are struggling, the smaller businesses are suffering. And so this is a service that we're actually doing. We're consulting with these business owners. We're developing strategies to help them attract people into their business, and it's free. So if you go to the guamdirectory.com, you can also take a look at that, and that's about getting the community involved at like the grassroots level, getting people in. So the funny thing is, we have an interview that's coming out, and a business owner is a couple. One is not from Guam, a former merchant marines, is a chief cook from the MSC, and the other is a local. So the funny thing is, when we mentioned the anaphemalic spirit, he said, "I've never heard that word before. What does it mean?" And if we can just spread that anaphemalic means good for everyone, not just good for a small group of people, then at least we can do our part, and that's the concept. So anyone is free to get involved at the guamdirectory.com.
That's great. And then you can go to our website, a brand new website, set up especially for the show, and also to be a vehicle for those of you who have great ideas to contribute. The website being
It's hafahour.com, and you can see at the top it says 2026 schedule. So we have the entire schedule. So if you feel like, okay, next week we're going to be talking about the cost of living in Guam, if you feel like you have a specific expertise in that area, reach out, come down, send Jeff a message, call AMC, schedule your appointment, and then come down so that we can get you on the show. We're looking for experts who have a really solid foundation in the subject matter that we're going to be
But
talking
today
about.
we are committed to talking about how governors and other elected officials get elected here on Guam. And so Charlie, apparently the Election Commission is opening up their doors tomorrow for people to pick up their packets. Can you talk about the process and your perspective on how governors get elected on Guam?
I think the doors are open already. So they put the numbers of initial packets that were picked up. So, from where, and just really quick, I actually had a conversation with Senator Mark Kelly, several years back. And we're alumni from the same school, so I decided to reach out to him. He reached back out, and back in the day, I was, again, I had always got this thing about, if the government's not doing it, how can we do it to change things and so forth. But anyway, I talked to him about what does it take to get elected, and the first thing that he asked me was, do you have the money? It was the first
Mark!
thing. He's
God.
like, a lot of elections take a lot of money to be able to run very efficiently. Now, this is a couple of years back before social media was really out there, right? Before AI was able to create things and really support you. So I think things are changing because the thing that I've always heard, especially here locally from a gubernatorial run, is that at a minimum now, a gubernatorial run has to have about $1 million worth of funds to be able to push their message and
To
get out
begin.
there. To begin, right?
I think it takes 4 million to win,
Wow.
and so
4 million.
where
or
it's,
it did for Lou, or
Right.
at that time. I think it's going to be different for us.
right, and I think that if you look back in the years, where it started, right? About the messaging, the caravans, I mean, everything about.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Those, I mean, the grassroots effect of being able to go out, and that didn't really take too much money to go out there and talk to the people, go down to the villages, hold, town hall meetings, and so. But I think that little by little, we started seeing that we needed to buy the votes of the people. We needed to give the government employees, depending on which party you were with, those extra days, or give them a raise.
Check.
Check. So now
Favoritism.
favoritism,
Check.
right? So I think that the monies has changed in a way that you're going to have to do that in order to get the vote. And I think that there's a different perspective. I say that the grassroots is still alive, where you can get out there and talk to the people, use the media, use your personal, the creation of this media outlets like this here, what we have in Half Hour, to be able to get messages out, to talk to the people, be very candid, be very transparent. And I think the one thing that I would look like, if I was listening to somebody who's going to run for governor, I would listen to somebody who's not scripted, is very real, and I think that really goes a long way. No buzzwords. Just tell me just how down to earth are you to be able to listen to the people, because those are the folks that are going out there and voting. So how do I get your vote? And so money has always been sort of something that's been ingrained in me here locally, saying this is how much you need to get started, and then it just kind of creeps up if you really want to go out there and win. And then I think on the local, on the 39th, on the senatorial side, I think it's going to be very open. We have a lot of seats that are going to be vacated because a lot of folks are running for higher office. Mm-hmm. So I think that it's a good opportunity to get young, talented, folks that still have that ability to be able to think outside the box, that haven't really been in the game, and really think about working for the people. That's the way it was designed. So I think that it's really a good opportunity for the fresh-minded folks to step up, raise their hand, and run for office.
Jeff?
Well, I feel that, of course, I'm an independent advocate. I don't feel that the Republican Party or the Democratic Party serves the people the way they need to be served. And I know that the money's important, but I also know that if we could start a whole new concept of how to run for office as an independent and how to get away from the status quo or what's been going on so far and give people a good alternative. And, you know, you got to help me with this, Charlie, because if you run as a Republican or a Democrat like that, I'm going to kind of lose my flow here, you know?
Yeah.
And you too.
No,
I mean, we need to find people, and we also need to develop a platform, right?
Yeah.
Saying this is exactly what we're going to do,
Right.
and be specific in the Pacific.
Yes.
Not half-ass, or we're going to fix a hospital, but no plan to do it, or we have to have a way to involve the talent to help us develop this, and that's why I want the people out there to help us.
Well, and that's the thing. I think it's at least a start to say, we're going to fix the hospital. We're going to fix Simon Sanchez High School, rebuild it. We're going to open up the swimming pool. At least these are specific commitments that we hold people to that are running for office. Because right now, really what Charlie's saying is we're committed to giving Government of Guam employees days off at $1 million a day. We're committed to giving them 22% pay increases, even if they don't show up to work or get things done. We're committed to bribing our way into office, and that's our first priority, Frank Bloss Jr. That's our first priority, Josh Tenorio. That's our first priority, Chris Barnett. I mean, if you guys think that nobody notices that your patron saint is political patronage, you're wrong. And so our fury, our anger, and our passion is a great motivator to get people out to vote. It's because people that care, right, or that are being affected, the poor, or more importantly, the middle ground, because the poor people actually have gotten a lot of resources, and that is sort of how government on Guam, I think, has kept the masses at bay. There's about 50,000 people on Guam that qualify for public assistance, but there's a lot of people in the middle who are making too much money to afford health insurance, or are making a decision not to get health insurance because they want to send their kids to school with shoes, or they're trying to make car payments and not fall delinquent. They're being responsible, and they're just barely breaking even, and our government is hurting them by having these stupid taxes for the privilege of doing business on Guam. Our government needs to be more responsive to the people that are in the middle. I'm in the middle of two high-powered guys who are having a bit of a difference of opinion, and somehow we have to find the middle way that brings all of us to, because that's the majority of the votes. I think that it's going to take 40,000 votes. If everybody on Guam who's able to votes, it'll take about 40,000 votes to get the governor of Guam elected. I mean, that's because the other people are going to get 10,000. I think there's going to be a landslide of Republican votes and Democrat votes voting in either Ada Calvo or Blas Okada, because those are the two on the Republican side. I think the Republicans are going to get a huge number of sympathy votes because everybody hates what the Democrats have done for the last 8 years. And it typically is that the Democrats have a hard time maintaining office.
Plus you have Trump,
And then Trump's going to...
the Republican.
And apparently the National Republican Committee has promised a certain amount of money in the general election to the Republican team. So the Republican team, whoever it winds up being, is going to get boosted by the national. The Guam. I mean, you know better than me, but apparently the Republicans don't think they have to raise a lot of money because they're being promised national money. Are you hearing that?
No, I think that it's, I think within the party, they still understand that it has to be a certain amount of money that has to be raised. But the one thing I want to say is, I don't think we disagree. I don't think we have a difference in opinion with Jeff.
Okay.
The question was, how has the governor been elected?
Yes.
And I was just sharing what
But he's saying, but then there is a difference because, or not a difference, but Jeff is saying it's the rich people, the folks with the big families, the established folk, and honestly, you said the incumbents, because in order for you to give Government of Guam employees a pay raise, in order for you to give them a day off, you have to be the incumbent. You have to control the levers of government right now.
Right.
And so it makes it tough for incumbents to be kicked out because they can keep bribing their way back into office. But now what we're seeing is a lot of these incumbents are getting bold and they're stepping out of their comfort zone and running for higher office, which means they no longer
Right.
necessarily have the same levers at hand.
Because if you switch a little bit of that comment, I will say that with a lot of folks, what they're telling me is, because I'll ask them, who are you going to vote for? And already a lot are saying, I don't know, because I don't really see this, I don't see this. And so they're reading between the lines right now. So I think goes back to what,
They want new faces.
they want something that they can actually believe in.
Yeah.
They want something that's going to happen.
Right.
They're tired of 60 years of nothingness.
Right.
Andrea?
I want to interject because we have John Ananich who's been
Hey,
here.
John.
And he said some really interesting things. And John, if you're happy, we can send you a link to come and share your thoughts.
John needs to get on. I actually I owe him a phone call now that I'm back from my trip in Taiwan. But John needs to get on.
Yes,
He
that's
definitely
fine. I like
does.
him. That'd be
Yes.
great.
So I want to read some of his comments as well, because he was commenting on a lot of the topics you guys were talking about here. But he also says this. He said in regards to defeating, I guess, the status quo, right? Bob Klitsky did it the best: pitch up a tent and invite constituents to stop by and have a conversation. And we remember Bob Klitsky. Jeff, you were really good friends with him, I think,
Yes.
for quite some time. And then he also says a platform with a roadmap specific to actual results, a true plan. This is in regards to an actual plan, right? The first 100 should be an actual executable plan with transparency. So, and then his final comment, he says, give the 29% a real reason to show up to the voting polls, and you'll see a different government. I think right now there is no true reason for someone to come.
There's
show up
nobody
to vote.
running that's going to be any different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I said I think it's very important because I think John that's just one of many of his thoughts because he's really got some.
Yeah, I've read a lot
Yeah,
that he's
it's
written.
good.
He's very good.
Yeah, so I think that in line with the movement of getting this up and really going, I think it's very important.
I think we have one more important bit of business to do, the scorecard.
Yes, so actually, last week we started this. Charlie, just grab yours. Please fill out this is the scorecard, and we're keeping a tally on, I guess you'll have to share pens.
Yeah.
We're keeping a tally on the current known candidates for the gubernatorial race. Last week was our first effort into the scorecard. This is the Pirate Scorecard. Currently, the tally is +1 for Ada, 0 for Tenorio, because he had a plus and a minus, +1 for Marcel Camacho, and -1 for San Agustin. Now, how this works is Jeff wants to write his name, so.
Yeah, me too, yeah.
And Doc, but how this works is you can all circle it without saying so that you're not influenced, and any guest will also have the opportunity. And then afterwards, you will explain why you gave the +1 or -1. And this is for the past week. While they're doing that, actually, who's done? And I can. Doc, okay. All right.
He didn't sign it. He doesn't want to
So
participate.
do we need to also add Frank as well now?
Frank.
Lost?
No, he hasn't announced yet, no.
Oh, not
You know,
officially, okay.
And that's the danger of being Frank. Frank has had a chaotic, shambolic run up to running for governor. I think he may have pulled off a small miracle by getting Mary Okada to at least say that she's going to run with him. But they haven't announced yet. Although, breaking news, I believe there's something called the Lincoln Dinner coming up. Can you
Yes.
tell us a little about that, Charlie?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, obviously it's a
Republican
run dinner, and it's always been a very good time to get all the like-minded Republicans together and discuss
And get drunk,
issues.
apparently.
I don't know if I have not. I mean, because I really, a lot of folks really work the room and because it's the one time that you are able to get a lot of folks to, to talk about issues that they won't normally talk in public.
Okay, so you don't have to
Yeah.
get drunk, but when is it? Because I just heard about it last week. I didn't know it was happening.
It's coming up. I can share the
Put it on the
flyer.
website?
Yeah, for sure. We'll definitely will. And
So although we're not necessarily supporting the Republicans or the Democrats on this show, we're sort of in the middle. We're just simply saying that there are people coming together to try to elect the next governor and also influence the composition of the next legislature. And all we're reacting to right now on the scorecard are those people that have made it public, have made it official, at least in the way that you do when you have an event to say, I'm running. Frank Bloss Jr. has not yet had an event, but the rumors are strong that he and Mary Okada have joined forces. Mary has now resigned from the Guam Community College, so she's now eligible to run. And so too has the lady who was doing the PIO up at Adelup, Crystal Paco, has also resigned, presumably to now run for something. We don't know what in the next legislature. So again, we're gonna be seeing a lot of things crystallize this week as people pick up their packets.
And to be fair, I believe Marcel Camacho hasn't even officially announced now, but it was just rumored for quite some time. So
No, but he did say it. I mean,
He did say
he did
it.
come out.
He
and say-
started the rumor.
Yeah, he started the rumor.
So, well, the sooner people announce officially, the faster we can get them on our scorecard, the
Sure.
pirate scorecard. And we're gonna go with Doc first. Doc, you have +1 for Ada again.
You know, I feel bad because Marcel hasn't done anything, so I can't give him a plus or a minus. But at least, did I say +1 for Ada? You know, I'm not even sure why I did that, except to say, you know, he hasn't offended anybody this week, and I haven't seen him do anything dumb. I know I see a lot of his signs, so okay, yeah, now I know. Of all the people that are running, he's working the hardest, and he's spending the money early. So he's doing something to create, I think, a groundswell of support for his candidacy, whereas nobody else seems to be doing that yet.
And your -1 is Tenorio.
Because he has, like these other politicians, stood up for something that he has no say in. He has no sovereignty, just like the rest of us. I mean, for him to challenge the federal government on this issue of undersea mining, and while neglecting the corruption within his own house, within his own government. I mean, Governor Leon Guerrero and Lieutenant Governor Toro have yet to address the federal indictments about corruption, stealing assistance away from the people of Guam, and that is unforgivable. So until Mr. Tenorio comes on our show and explains himself, I think I'm gonna write him negative every week, because that apology is necessary. Don't be like Archbishop Apra and pretend that if you don't apologize, nothing happened. We see you. We know that you're going through pain because maybe you're innocent. Maybe you're the only person in your whole family, in your whole house, that wasn't stealing from the people of Guam. But then come and explain yourself, because you should be the first one to turn those people in. You need to turn them in. Have a nice day.
But how? Okay, so let me just. How can Josh, the LT, how can he actually do that when he's maybe risking some sort of legal action against himself?
That's the thing. Again, you're either innocent or you're guilty. Turn the people that are guilty in. You know that they did something, because there's a million pages. This whole charade about delaying the. So that's the other negative for Mr. Tenorio. He should have stood up and said, no, don't do that. Let me be voted in on my own merits. Let the court case happen early, because justice needs to be served. That money needs to be returned. Those people that stole it need to be
Should
made
happen
example.
early. They
It
should
have
not
had-
be waiting
yeah.
till after the election.
And that's the thing, is you can't
And
pick
it's
it.
gonna hurt him, I'll tell you right now.
Either way, and I mean, again, come on our show. We'll be nice and friendly to you. We'll let you speak your thing. You need to speak to this, Josh. You're the leader of the current government of Guam, and you've been giving the money away. You've been trying to buy votes. You're the one who raised people's pay increases. You're the one who's been giving them days off. You're using the machinery of the government of Guam to try to buy this election. No bueno.
Okay, I'm just going to read the comments really quick before we move to Charlie. Good
Go
job. So, John Ananich, he put -100 for any of the candidates that played their instruments in the orchestra of responsibility for today's economic situation. Sandra Regis says, sorry, if Crystal Paco runs for some kind of office, I couldn't support her. For her to work or support the worst administration ever on Guam, just couldn't. And everybody has it right. If you're listening and watching, give your plus and minuses for those candidates so that people of Guam can actually hear the true story and your opinions, really, at the end of the day. Now, Charlie, you're next. Your plus one is Ada, and explain yourself, sir.
Yeah, no, and I think the way John said it was, he took an economic development, and I think maybe next week I'll take it the same way. But this week, I'm looking at it more from what we're doing for the island to make it back to what the island was, the beauty of this. And so I'm very big on the potholes, vehicles, graffiti, cleanliness of the buildings. We're not doing anything. We're not holding anybody accountable. So I gave +1 to Tony because he did go out with his group, and he had a very large group to go out there and do the cleaning down in the villages. And so for me, it was I took it two ways. One, he was doing something. He was getting his name out there. But number two, I've heard from some folks that never have participated in any type of cleaning that actually were doing some labor work, and they were like, it was a lot. Mm-hmm. It was, and they saw how much it wasn't, how much trash that was built up. And so seeing it firsthand was very important, and I think that's the reason why I gave +1 to Tony. Okay,
perfect. And your -1 is Tenorio.
And on the flip side, on the person that's in charge of doing it, he's, unfortunately, if we were to have a forum, that would be one of my questions, because currently the Lieutenant Governor is in charge of the task force, the beautification task force. Yes. And unfortunately don't know what happened to it, don't know what happened with the funds, don't know anything really what's going on. Everything just seems to be getting worse. And so on the flip side, I gave Tenorio a negative, because if he's going to run and become the governor, what is it that he's going to be in a position to do that he wasn't able to do now?
Yeah.
One thing I did like about the Calvo administration was the support behind, transparency. I think it was probably the most transparent in a way as humanly possible on Guam in terms of the budgeting. You're shaking your head.
No. I'm sorry. I'm thinking in my head, because that's how I met Ray, the former Lieutenant Governor.
Yes.
When we were doing APL cleanup down by Big Navy, he showed up in a red tie, and he was like, "No, let's get to it."
He was responsible for that.
And every time we needed some type of action, he didn't send anybody. He came.
Yeah.
He was the one that was there showing up, and so I huge difference. And we do have something to measure off. So anyway, those are my plus and -1.
Okay, and then we now have
the pirate.
Wait, let me check in. Okay, the pirate, of course. Jeff, you got +1 to Camacho. Explain yourself.
Hey.
Camacho?
Yes.
Yes. Because I think that he's the least of all evils right now.
Same reason as last
And
week.
I think that he has a better head on his shoulders, and I think that the people that are running are all not worth it. And Josh, I think.
Wait, let her.
Okay, what?
It's your negative. Josh is your negative. Go ahead.
Yeah, Josh is my negative because he's not doing anything. I mean, if Josh wanted to win, he would be out there picking up those cars right now that we're talking about. Right. Take my word for it. Or he would be doing something about all these problems that he could do something about, cleaning up Tumor, right?
Fixing the sidewalks.
He should be doing that, and he's not doing anything. So what good is he?
And so John Anich says, Doc Akimoto needs to put on some football paint under his eyes, at least one black line under the left eye, 32 dive there running back, LOL. Okay.
Yeah, with him, with John. John, you need to come on our show. So we're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, it's no script, and sometimes I make these guys sing. Can you guys all repeat just the 2 lines? We'll play it on the out, but sing the Hafa hour jingle?
You mean a cappella?
Yes, yes.
We've only heard it 3 times.
It's okay.
And he's the best singer.
We're putting
I
him on
promise,
the spot.
I promise we'll do it better the next time. But I mean, why don't we play the song again? It's such a great song.
We're going to play it on the
Play
way.
it right now.
On the way out.
Push
right?
the button.
Let's just tell everybody, hey, next week we're talking about Greenland. Next week we may have a special guest to talk about the AI and the Pacific Pivot. I mean, again, we're looking at you, young sir. I'm not going to say your name, but we have a mystery guest who may come down to explain some of the intricacies of information technology and some of the advances, to talk about data centers. So there's a lot of good reasons to come back to EPEN next Sunday, but this Sunday is still going on, and there's barbecues, and there's a bunch of Taiwanese influencers, and Jeff's going to go out there and host them in a few minutes. Charlie, any final words?
No, I think that next week we'll talk about Greenland, but I think that the discussion between the CNMI and Guam coming together could be interesting as well, because that's strategically that's been brought up. And again, it's a discussion that's going to happen. Unfortunately, the CNMI is going through some tough economic times right now.
We need to work together.
We need to be able to work together collectively. So come back next week, listen to, and again, it's our opinion. You can agree, disagree, but if you disagree or agree, put your comments down and we'll definitely address them. And if somebody, I don't think I'm always right, and if somebody can sway me by showing me data, I'm all about that. I can definitely turn my opinion if somebody can show me good information, good data that would allow me to switch my thinking. I'm always good for that.
Very nice.
Just as a reminder, everybody, if you sing those 2 verses that you're going to hear on the way out and send us a video of you dancing and singing just 2 verses, you get something free from the pirate. You can claim it. I'm sure he has a whole bunch of options for you. And Doc says he's giving out free flu shots.
Yeah.
If you have insurance.
If you have insurance.
Well, what do you want? What do you want? Yeah.
Okay, adios.
Okay, everybody. Goodbye. What's our lines? You playing our song?
We're playing it on the app.
Hear that I come alive. From just Pirates Cove, we sailing for what's right. Captain Jeffrey Pigwell keep the compass true. Andrea on the map, GuamDirectory coming through. Ticks with the signal, save our start up loud. Doc Akimoto on deck, AMC proud.
You were with it, though.
Leaning close, let the real talk run. How good me up to tomorrow. Everybody has one.
Oh wait, the truck.
Fear in our eyes. We're
From the beginning.
place rise.
Supposed to start from the beginning?
It's okay. Just dance.
Yeah, we're almost done.
Oh, for a die Guam, hear that I come alive. From just Pirates Cove, we sailing for what's right. Captain Jeffrey Pigwell keep the compass true. Andrea on the map, GuamDirectory coming through. Ticks with the signal, save our startup loud. Doc Akimoto on deck, AMC proud.
Rock it out. Rock it out.
Leaning close, let the real talk run. How good you
How we giving it with
Everybody has a on this ship. No fear in our eyes. Raise the sails to the truth. Watch the whole
Yeah,
place
Sally's
rise.
got the magic flow,
Hafa, Guam, Unfiltered.
Yeah, the Donald Trump. Young man.
Ahoy, ahoy. Sing it unfiltered. Guam sauce for true sick a year we deliver. Hafa, Guam, Unfiltered. Everybody now.
As soon as we get our first sponsor, I suggest we send him a care package.
They go to Santa Rita, in Alohan too, Talo Fofo in the reading. This one's for you, Don Farrell in the room, Charlie Hermosa near. We ask real questions, make it crystal clear. Tenorio Calvo, Ada Camacho names in the race. No banners on this day, just true to face. Independent pirate party, stand firm, stand tall. Continue to continue, answer the call. Clap, clap, lean in close, let the real talk run. I got you to one, everybody has one. No hush on the ship, no fear in our eyes.
We have no rhythm,
Watch the whole
It's
place
like
rise.
there's nothing to dance to.
Yeah, we don't know what we're doing here.
So we'll try. You notice we do everything you say, Andrea. You must love this, right? You say, do something dumb. Okay, we're ready. Look at us. And she's gonna walk in the door again, and she's gonna turn around. Yeah, well, that's yeah, but there was music.
Are we at the end?
Okay, we got it. Oh my gosh, you got it.
White ladies breach when the night wind blow. Truth don't scare when the truth must show. Chief got out and Matapang strength we carry on. Sarina in the tight sing, Guam sing along. Continue to continue. Independent pirate party.
Okay.
I used to go to the powerhouse.
Oh yeah.
Remember that one?
Yes. I couldn't get in. You were too young.
That's when I knew Don Who.
Yeah. That's right.
He went to the powerhouse.
You went to the outlet. You worked at
I
the
worked
outlet.
I knew the Duke.
You knew Duke Kwana Namoko.
Yeah, he called me the crazy Guamanian.
So we got to talk about your times in Hawaii.
Okay?
We got to work.
Say bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Andre.
Adios.
You know, you can get us to do almost anything.
But you're just gonna walk off there?
No, well, that's the thing is that you said we're done.
And then I say bye.
Oh, we did say bye. Bye.
Adios. Hasta later.
We're gonna have to work on our exit. You know, it's all.
Oh, put that song on my
My heart. No, you gotta.
Time to go.
A few moments later.
Story is told in a different way. Sometimes I hear the same birds singing from past weeks, telling of their adventures since last seeing each other.
Welcome to Hafa, Guam Unfiltered. Ahoy! Ahoy! Aye! Over a die Guam. Here that I come alive from just Pirates Cove, we sailing for what's right. Captain Jeffrey Pigwell keep the compass true. Andrea on the map, GuamDirectory coming through. Tigs with the signal, save our start up loud. Doc Akimoto on deck, AMC proud. Leaning close, let the real talk run. Ha good nya tutu mon, everybody has one. No whoosh on this ship, no fear in our eyes. Raise the sails to the truth, watch the whole place rise. Hafa, Guam Unfiltered. Hafa, Guam Unfiltered. Ahoy, ahoy, sing it unfiltered. Guam sauce for true, sick a year we deliver. Hafa, Guam Unfiltered. Everybody now, Guam Unfiltered. They do to Santa Rita, in Alohan too, Talo Fofo in the reading. This one's for you, Don Farrell in the room, Charlie Hermosa near. We ask real questions, make it crystal clear. Tenorio Calvo Ada, Camacho names in a race. No banners on this deck, just truth to face. Independent pirate party, stand firm, stand tall. Continue to continue, answer the call. Clap, clap, lean in close, let the real talk run. Hagotnya tutumon, everybody has one. No hush on the ship, no fear in our eyes. Raise the sails to the truth, watch the whole place rise. Hafa hour, Guam Unfiltered. Hafa hour, Guam Unfiltered. Ahoy, sing it. it, don't filter it. Guam sauce for true seekers, yeah, we deliver it. Guam Unfiltered. Everybody now, Unfiltered. White ladies breach when the night wind blow. Truth don't scare when the truth must show. Chief Gadao and Matapang strength we carry on. Sarina in the tide sing, Guam sing along. Continue to continue. Independent pirate party. Hafa hour Guam Unfiltered. Hafa hour Guam Unfiltered. Ahoy, sing it, don't filter it. Guam sauce for true seekers, yeah, we deliver it. Tune into Hafa hour Guam. Welcome to Hafa hour.
This is our government. The hospital, everybody knows the woes of the hospital is so bad. The prison, the other day they said, oh, in 2000 we were supposed to start this plan to build a new prison and this, that, and the other thing. 25 years ago, the prison has 800 inmates for a place made for 300. The ICE problem on Guam has gotten crazy too. But if you want it, I guess you've got to go to prison. It's, more available there. This government is only serving themselves. Last election, about 50% of the eligible voters voted. That means that everybody else is allowing what's to happen to happen. We really need, and you as business people need to encourage your employees to register to vote. So when this new election comes up, we could have a chance. And we also need to push, and I think Ron McNitch is pushing for independent movement. If that's what, you want to do, I think that is better than joining the party. Myself, I ran as an independent for governor in 1986 against Carl Gutierrez. And the reason I did it, and I ran with Bill Roth, a very smart guy who was a principal of Notre Dame and Father Duenas. We did it because we could just see this government growing and education getting worse. All the problems that were there. So we ran, we got about 1,000 votes. We made a lot of people think. But you figure that was 30 years ago, and all the problems are still there. Nothing has gotten better. If you can tell me one thing that has gotten better, all I can think of is if you work for the government, it's better for you because you just